Okay, let us begin. We want to thank you so much for coming out this afternoon for this forum, resolving the crisis in Haiti, the role of the Montana Accord movement. As I said before, we expect more to join us. It is, in fact, a very, very rainy day outside, but we persevere nonetheless. I'm honored to, again, be a part of this. Haiti is near and dear to my heart. Some of you are aware of that. I've been doing work on Haiti since 1995. I took my first delegation there. And I've been involved in many mediation and crisis resolution scenarios, as well as taking hundreds of people to the Citadel, as some of you may know. And of course, our Cruising in the History Project in 2004 was one of the great memories of my life. I work around Haiti not because it's sentimental. I work around Haiti because we all, within the Pan-African world, throughout the world, we all owe a debt of Haiti, to Haiti, for indeed challenging the myth of white supremacy, and indeed having us stand up when we were on our knees globally. Haiti showed the way and has been marginalized ever since. And so we have to finish the unfinished Haitian revolution, because none of us within the Pan-African world will ever be free until Haiti is free, until Haiti is up on its feet and moving as a free nation. So our goal today really is to discuss the process by which this happens. And again, I've been to Haiti many, many, many times. And I was discussing and sharing with Ariel, this is the most grave crisis I have seen in the last 25 years or so. It is very, very, very grave. We cannot afford not to move forward. But we must also move forward in a way which does not replicate the mistakes of the past. So our goal today is to look at the process. What is the process by which this can be done? And I'm here to unapologetically say that, having been mentored by my dear friend who raised me, Johnny McCalla, participating in a process called the Pan-African Unity Dialogue, when he introduced me to the Montana Accord and the agreement and went through the process, I said, this is the most promising process I have seen since I've been doing work in Haiti. And I say so because I have a conviction. I've done some analysis having worked in Haiti. And time again, as I would meet with my dear friend Leslie Voltaire, who is not with us today, and Ariel's mom, Marie Panette Kadar, and others, I would say what Haiti needs is a critical mass of people who will put Haiti first. And secondly, it must be inclusive. The idea of winner take all does not work not only in Haiti, it does not work for African people, period. So we have to have an inclusive process that includes different parties and factions and to bring them around the table. And that's what the Montana Accord has done. If I understand it correctly, bringing hundreds of organizations around the table to deliberate and to lay out a plan whereby the people of Haiti will be engaged finally in determining what the future of Haiti will be. So what's missing is the environment. What's missing is, first of all, the embrace of the international community, the embrace of the Congressional Black Caucus, the embrace of key leaders who are in this room today to understand it, and then creating the climate and the environment by which this process can unfold. And unfold in a way that all of you sort of know. This is not a quickie solution. It's not about, well, we got to have an election, and elections don't matter really unless they're done right. A quickie election, we've had quickie elections, we've had half elections, but what we see now is an inclusive process. And that's why I am passionately and strongly in favor of what I've seen in terms of the Montana Accord agreement. And our objective really is to elevate the Montana Accord agreement and the process so that it will be the centerpiece. Not that it won't have debates and discussions, nobody is saying that, but it will become the centerpiece around which people evolve. First and foremost in Haiti, so there will be a Haitian solution. So those of us who are supporting will support that process, and the nations of the world, whether it's France or Canada or the United States of America, should support that process. That's our goal. That's our objective, because we are determined that Haiti will have a process that is determined by its own people. So now I'd like to invite to the podium for a welcome and opening statement the chairman of the Haitian American Foundation for Democracy, getting to know him, and we intend to work with him very closely. Would you please welcome Mr. Jean-Philippe August.
Thank you for being here. My name is Jean-Philippe Austin. I'm a radiation oncologist, cancer specialist in South Florida. And I always say that that's what I do for a living. But my passion, and I have my 3 girls in the front row here, they'll tell you, is all about how to make life better for Black people writ large in the world. And lately, how to make life better for the people of Haiti, where I came from. I left Haiti, I was 9 years old. And I never thought that I would really be engaged in Haitian affairs in such a deep way. But my friend, we call ourselves my partner in crime and fundraising, Dr. Larry Pierre, who's here, really brought me into the world of trying to make Haiti a better place for the Haitian people. It's a privilege to address you today. I want to express my gratitude to the Institute of the Black World, through Mr. Ron Daniels, Mr. Johnny McCalla, as well as Mr. Pierre Esperance, for their collaboration, because without them, we wouldn't be here today. So the Haitian American Foundation for Democracy, we called it HAFD, was born out of our understanding that we needed to engage Haitian Americans together, because there's such a great need for it, and we wanted to be the organization that ultimately builds American of Haitian descent's political power. Because it turns out that nothing happens out of goodwill. I've been in the political space for most of my adult life. My wife and I have raised money for, and have had at our home for over 35 years, Congress people, senators, governors, even presidents, truthfully, and VPs. In fact, if anybody's interested, I'm having a fundraiser, hosting a fundraiser in Miami next week for the VP, for Kamala Harris. But just because you have access to these people, and you could talk to them, and you could make the case for what needs to happen, and what's right, what's fair, it doesn't move the ball. What moves the ball is political power. And political power happens when you bring like-minded people together and make a demand. So that's what this HAFD is all about. How do we bring the Haitian American community together to gain political power? In Haiti today, the situation is nothing short of dire. You know, my parents, when they first came, used to say, "My God, things are getting worse every year." And it's been that way for 50 years. We never thought it would get this bad. What we have at this point is a failing state. We've witnessed a distressing wave of home invasions, sexual assaults, and the displacement of over 250,000 people in Port-au-Prince alone. And most of those, at least half of them or more, are innocent children. So now more than ever, we call upon all of our allies to join us in raising the alarm about Haiti. The challenges facing that nation are immense, and addressing them will entail the collective strength and unity of our diverse talents. But especially our African American brothers and sisters who've long defended the rights of black people across the globe. The problem in Haiti, at least in my mind, is an issue of terrible governance, of poor governance, and fragile institutions. It is a complex problem demanding profound, sustainable solutions. But today we're honored to host courageous activists who risk their lives each and every day, and I told Magali that when I saw her a few minutes ago, who want to bring about positive change. They're going to provide us with a comprehensive insight into Haiti's current situation, but even more importantly, a potential pathway towards resolution. So we warmly invite you to stay connected with HAVD as well as IBW, because we recognize the urgency of forming a robust coalition to address the alarming situation in Haiti. Your ideas, proposals, and suggestions are not only welcome, but they're really essential in amplifying our collective voices. In conclusion, let me say that I want to emphasize that the crisis in Haiti demands our immediate attention. And I'll repeat that. The crisis in Haiti demands our immediate attention. A collective effort and unwavering dedication. It's a complex issue. It's not going to be resolved overnight. But if we collaborate and come together, we can make a difference one step at a time. So we encourage you to stay connected, engage with our esteemed panelists, and explore opportunities to collaborate. I think together we can drive the positive transformation that Haiti so urgently needs. Even though the journey ahead is going to be challenging, it starts here with gatherings like this and discussions like this and our shared determination to make a difference. Together, we can embark on a future that shapes a future for Haiti where the country and its people can thrive and flourish. So thank you so much.
Okay, moving right along. Before I bring Jocelyn McCullough to the rostrum, just want to quickly acknowledge a few people. First of all, one of our board members from the Institute of the Black World 21st Century is here, Dr. Taiwan Lovelace. Would you wave your hand? That's one of my bosses, so yes, Dr. Lovelace. We are also privileged to have one of the great revolutionaries of our time in our midst. We're fortunate to have him as the Director of Communications and International Relations for the Institute of the Black World 21st Century, as well as for the Haiti Support Project as well. I went to Haiti in 1995. He was a part of that first delegation that we took. This gentleman was, many of you know from the Caribbean, the legacy of the great Maurice Bishop of the People's Revolutionary Government of Grenada. Unfortunately, he was taken out and murdered, frankly, by the U.S. government. But Don Rojas was the press secretary for Maurice Bishop and much more. He's continued to work to fight for the liberation of black people all over the world. He's a communications genius, having put together the University of West Indies Television, having been the general manager of Free Speech Television, WBAI, and much more. Would you please acknowledge Don Rojas? We're also delighted to have with us, I call him the Black Secretary of State. I'm branding him that because he is so influential and so effective at building a constituency for Africa. In fact, when we put together the Haiti Support Project, I said our goal was to build a constituency for Haiti among African Americans, sort of modeling after the work of this great leader who has dedicated a half century to building relationships and being effective in advancing the interests of African people. Would you please acknowledge Mel Foote, the President and CEO of the Constituency for Africa. Some of you may know I was the deputy campaign manager for the Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson. The Rainbow Coalition is one of the great organizations in this country, and Reverend Jackson's leadership is incredibly powerful. It's interesting, the next gentleman I'm about to introduce said he talked to Reverend Jackson this morning, he said, don't forget about Haiti, don't forget about Haiti. Because Reverend Jackson has always been a staunch supporter of Haiti. So we're delighted that James Gomez, the Director of International Relations for the Rainbow Push Coalition, is here. James Gomez, would you please welcome him? You should be aware that he is also going to arrange, and hopefully it'll happen, that Congressman Jonathan Jackson will be joining us later on in the program. I just called Congressman Gregory Meeks again, and he had assured me that it was on his schedule, so we anticipate that he will be joining us as well. Hillary Shelton, the powerful, influential Vice President of the NAACP, who does policy. This is the policy office in Washington, D.C. He's coming, but because of the water, literally, his basement was flooded. He was cleaning the basement up, but he's going to try to get here. But I want you to know that he's committed to this proposition. Janice Mathis, the National Council of Negro Women, and many others. So I just wanted to let you know that we have some, from the African American community, we have some influential folk here who are committed to stand arm in arm with our Haitian and Haitian American brothers and sisters. So now I'd like to welcome my partner in collaboration and someone, as I said before, raised me. I'm profoundly grateful that he's done such a good, I hope that he's done a good job, for doing so. It's great to have your parents in the room and all that good stuff. You all know him. He's going to introduce, make acknowledgments, so also introduce our key presenters for this afternoon. And the way the process will go, we'll have two presentations, one on the crisis in Africa, and crisis in Haiti, and then we'll have a keynote presentation on the way forward, and then we're going to open it up for questions and comments, and we hope we'll have a good, robust time. And by the way, before I forget, I should not have forgotten, I hope that Andy Shalal would be here. He's not here, maybe he will come later. But anyway, let's thank busboys and poets and the staff for making this space available. Let's give them a big round of applause. John McConnell.
Thank you so much, Ron, for giving me credit when in fact, you deserve all the credit. I mean, you are my hero. I mean, Ron, by the way, has been in this struggle and this fight for quite such a long time that I can't ever forget when he stopped doing stuff. So he has been all over the place. I mean, this week alone, I think that he was in LA or San Francisco, in Chicago, or and now in Washington, D.C. So he just spends barely any time in New York, per se. In the meantime, one of the reasons why we all work together is because we believe firmly in the idea of a Pan-African solidarity network. So one of the projects that Ron has set up is a Pan-African Unity Dialogue, which meets on a regular basis every 3 months or so, but inevitably includes Haiti as a key topic that must be discussed and must be that people can be informed in. So this said, I'm very grateful for the preceding presentations. I think they are very encouraging. So in fact, I don't have a lot of work to do, except I'm going to begin by saying, one, Ron has acknowledged a few people in this room. I want to acknowledge some others. First and foremost, I want to acknowledge the presence of my dear friend, a one-time activist who we organized rallies, demonstrations together. Commissioner Marlene Bastien is with us here. And she's the commissioner in the city of Miami. Is that Miami-Dade County, and she's now in a position, to make a huge difference for the people in Miami-Dade. Other people that I want to acknowledge: former Senator Stephen Benoit of Haiti. I have long followed the three wonderful women leaders in their own right. and I want to mention them because to me, they are the future of Haiti, and they have been building up power, they have been building up alliances, they have been doing stuff that we really didn't have time to do when it was our time. So I want to acknowledge the presence of Pascal Solange. Where she's outside. Oh, she's outside, sorry. Rosie Auguste from the National Network of Human Rights Monitors. And obviously I'm going to introduce Velina Charlier, who's going to be one making our presentation, bringing our presentation. These are very powerful people, but they're also, as I said, they represent the future of the country. But I would be remiss without if I did not acknowledge my people from my own generation. Pierre Espérance from the National Network of Human Rights Monitors. Marvel Dandin of Radio Kiskeya. Larry Pierre, who is for the Center for Asian Studies. And I might have forgotten a couple of other people, but please forgive me if I did. Now, this said, we had hoped that we're going to be joined by former Prime Minister P.J. Patterson here today, but he couldn't make it. So he sent a greetings, which I'm happy to read to you today. So this is from P.J. Patterson, former Prime Minister of Jamaica, one of the longest serving Prime Ministers in Jamaica. And he says in his note, "Sisters and brothers, I send you warm greetings from Jamaica and extend best wishes for a successful forum today. The proud and courageous people of Haiti deserve no less. Haiti lit the flame for those who believe in freedom and liberty of the human spirit everywhere. Yet, because of violence and chaos, neo-colonial exploitation and repeated foreign interventions, democracy in Haiti remains an unfinished project and development an elusive aspiration. This is indeed a sad historical irony for the first Black Republic in the Western Hemisphere. We cannot remain silent or indifferent. Democracy cannot thrive where the rule of law does not exist. Thus, I add my voice in solidarity with the people of Haiti. Civil order must be restored with a transitional electoral process that derives its legitimacy from the people themselves and which is responsive to the needs and interests of the nation. We in Jamaica and across the CARICOM region feel your pain, and we stand ready to assist in whatever way you choose. The killings and the chaos must stop now. Protecting the collective security, safety, and sovereignty of the Haitian people is a prerequisite for their peaceful social and economic development. We must allow the Haitian people to determine their own future, free from outside interference. Signed, Honorable P.J. Patterson, former Prime Minister of Jamaica, today, September 23, 2023. Now, as my brother Ron explained, we're going to have two panelists. Each one of them is going to have 15 minutes. The first panelist that I'm going to be calling on will be Velina Elise Charlier. But first, before she joins me in the podium, I want to make a very brief introduction of her bio. Velina is a feminist and political activist. She is a member of the organization Nupap Domi, a Haitian civil society organization that advocates for social justice, anti-corruption, and accountable governance. Nupap Domi is among the organizations that launched the Petro Caribe Challenge. an anti-corruption movement which rallied hundreds of thousands of Haitians to call for accountability for Haiti's largest corruption scandal. Largest because it is estimated that the monies that were involved were into the billions of dollars. Velina is an advocate for human rights, and through her political involvement, she wants to encourage Haitians, especially young people, to engage in politics differently. In 2022, it testified before the U.S. House Committee on Foreign Affairs about the situation in Haiti. Velina is the mother of 4 daughters and currently lives in Haiti. She made it, and I want to, just for that purpose, I just want to say, hey, welcome. Come on, Velina, join me in the podium.
Greetings, everyone. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. It's an honor to be able to share what I believe in. And I'm Haitian, and I believe in people, in the Haitian people. I believe that we will overcome our struggles. I believe that way greater days are ahead of Haiti. And I believe, as a woman, that all of the women in Haiti will be in the forefront of that fight. I am a mom of 4 girls. I am raising 4 feminists and 4 Haitian women. We will take over my fight, and I'm really hoping that I will leave a better country for them. So they are the very reason why I am fighting. I'm fighting because I'm a strong believer that Haiti is for our children, and my job as a Haitian woman is to leave a country for them that they can not only be proud of, but be welcomed and be able to live in. Speak louder. Okay, I don't have a deep voice. let me try that. And excuse me, English is not my first language, so if I make mistakes. Haiti's history is marked by ongoing political tensions and crises from its independence to the present day. Haiti experienced coup, assassination of presidents, US occupation, various foreign intervention, including military intervention, illegitimate elections, among others. For example, from 1986 to today, in 37 years, Haiti experienced pre-coup, 7 transitional presidents, and only 4 presidential terms have been concluded. This raises the questions: why does Haiti consistently face political crisis, preventing it from making progress as a state that ensures the well-being of its people? Without getting into many details, factors contributing to this include colonial legacy, racist policies like the independence debt to France or the ransom from US banks, state capture, corruption, interference, constant interference from foreign powers and informal actors such as the mafia, organized crime, and all kinds of illicit trafficking networks. These obstacles prevent the development of a strong state with strong and legitimate institutions, capable to provide basic services to citizens and the social and economic progress to the Haitian people. Another factor that's worth mentioning is that, and that's very current today, is the impact and legacy of the Duvalier dictatorship. Despite the fact that the dictatorship ended, this very system of oppression and disregards towards citizens remain enshrined in our state and political institutions, or in the state and citizen relationship today, or in the de facto apartheid by, for example, using a language that is not the language of the people for education. It's crucial to understand that the current crisis that Haiti is facing is not a recent occurrence. The multi-dimensional crisis we see today is a continuation of historical patterns. I'll now delve into the specifics of the current crisis and illustrate how these mentioned factors play a significant role in its unfolding. Today, Haiti is facing a complex, like I said, multi-dimensional crisis. To keep it brief, I'll trace the origins to 2010, right after the earthquake. In 2010, there was a devastating earthquake in Haiti that claimed over 300,000 lives. It left many missing. The state was in total collapse. The country was wounded. The population was wounded. Yet, in the middle of that chaos, the international community pushed for elections. They demanded elections. And even though the country wasn't prepared for them, they forced our hand, and we went into contested elections and the rise of the PHTK regime that is today an illegitimate regime that's still ruling Haiti. During the Martelly term, election never took place. That same international community had to come back and negotiate the exit of Martelly and organize, once again, contested elections that brought Jovenel Moïse as a president. Jovenel Moïse also failed in organizing elections. And today, what do we have? We have a situation where there is not a single elected official in the country. All state institutions, the three branches of government are dysfunctional, and the de facto prime minister, Dr. Ariel Henry, is the only man running the country in complete impunity and illegitimacy. Taking all of this into account, it's important to understand the recent history of the country and analyze the popular movements of the recent years, especially the fight for accountability regarding the Petro-Caribe funds. The very fight against corruption, when the people took it to the streets, it was a means for the population to revolt against a state that indulged in human rights abuses and continually creates crises where the victims are the population itself. Since 2018, there has been 25 major massacres, and armed gangs recorded in the disadvantaged communities. At least 1,443 people murdered, 161 women and girls victims of collective rape, dozens of people shot, hundreds of children left with no parents, sleeping in the streets, and thousands of Haitian people displaced in their own country. Now, can you imagine? We have been ripped off from Africa. We have been stolen from Africa. We had to fight for this country, and yet we still no longer can find home. On average today in Haiti, 30 people per day are victims of rape, kidnapping, or murder. 30 people every single day. And it's worth noting that the first massacre, the massacre of La Saline in 2018, was perpetrated to prevent the population from participating in mass protests seeking governance accountability. Those people were killed because they dared to ask Code Petro Caribbean. And it continued. Today, the gangs enjoy full protection from the government. They control over 80% of the capital and various other major cities and villages. They occupy all the major roads, and they even set up toll stations to ransom the population. They use official vehicles, police vehicles, and equipment, and some of them are even registered as state service. They literally have replaced the state. They make their own laws, and they have their own court to sentence people, death sentence. It's important to emphasize on the political aspect of the gang violence in Haiti that the gangs have been used as a tool to control the population and prevent the population from participating into protest to demand a better life by the PHTK regime. It started under Michel Martelly regime, and it is still continuing today. One of the most telling proofs of what I've just said are the recent sanctions that were imposed by the United States and Canada against two sitting ministers, Minister of Justice and Interior. Due to their ties with armed gangs, they were accused of financing the gangs. Now, imagine for a moment that the Department of Justice and Homeland Security in the US had connections and was financing gangs terrorizing people in America. Imagine that for a moment. What would have happened? Why is it allowed to happen in Haiti? It's important to understand this aspect when we talk about the gang issues in Haiti. And in this context, how can a government that's in collusion with armed gangs claim to be able and willing to combat these gangs? And it's behind that rationale that the population and civil society, including the PAPDOMI, the organization I represent today, have understood that only rupture, breakaway from the way politics is being done in Haiti is the way forward, and it's needed. And that's why we've been advocating for the past 3 years that we believe a Haitian-led solution is needed to the multidimensional crisis. And by Haitian-led, I mean without interference from any foreign embassy, especially the US Embassy. So far, efforts have proven futile because we're facing a prime minister who holds all the power of the states, who is also Minister of Interior, which means that is the head of the CSPN, which is the judiciary power and the police, and is the president of that council that governs the police. That's all of the power in the hand of one man. And it has no legal nor popular legitimacy. Its legitimacy stems solely from the unconditional support it receives from the United States, particularly, and the international community at large. So before I give the floor to Magali, who will talk further about the Montana Accord and the pathway that we have laid towards a groundbreaking transitions for Haiti, before I let Magali explain to you how many years we have been opening dialogue, talking to every single people in Haiti, traveling the country, despite very difficult situation. Let me remind everybody here that Haitians are dying. Our people is dying. We need to take action, and we need to take action now. We cannot organize in Haiti. The gangs won't allow it to happen. The mafia that has taken our lives hostages will not allow it to happen. We cannot move freely in the country. We live in this country with 24 hours of life expectancy, renewable every day. Because at any moment, a stray bullet or a gang can end our lives. So it is up to you in the diaspora to organize and fight for us. We no longer can hold the boat afloat alone. We are dying.
That was an extremely powerful presentation. I take away a couple of things from this presentation. One of which is that the chaos, the unleashing of crime by a number of criminal gangs in the country began when people started to demand accountability from the government of Haiti. And they began to do it in vast numbers, thanks to a simple call. Where did the money go? What happened to the monies that were promised to Haiti? That's the first thing. Second thing is that they still believe in the idea of a continuous dialogue between Haitians, so that Haitians can finally be masters of their own destiny without interference from outside. Help, yes, but don't interfere. This said, I note that this week, two organizations issued a very strong statement addressed, or a strong letter addressed to President Biden and to Secretary Blinken. It's a very long statement. I'm not going to read the entire thing, but I take away from the statement the following paragraph. And let me mention that the statements were issued by Farm in Action, whose executive director is also Marlene Bastien, and the National Network of Haitian American Elected Officials. I may not have said it correctly, but you get the idea. And I will mention the presence of some of the representatives in a bit. But let me get to the paragraph that is very apropos for this conversation. In the letter to President Biden, they said, if the U.S. is genuinely interested in stabilizing the political situation to avoid a catastrophic humanitarian crisis in Haiti, it will start by ceasing to prop up the current government and allow the emergence of a consensus transitional government with the legitimacy to decide how the international community can contribute. That is one of the most powerful sentences in the statement. I believe that they have the statement on their website. If not, it should be available to a lot of the WhatsApp groups that have emerged in the recent memory. And I want to acknowledge the presence in our midst of the current chairman of the National Haitian American Elected Officials Network. Shawnette Frederick is the chairperson. I also have with us the chair-elect, Rosemary Estimé Urban, and she is she's an official from Miami. Vice mayor. And I have another member of the network, Donnie Felix, the deputy mayor, Paul Mayor. Other people that have come abroad, Pierre Franchard, councilman from North Miami, Florida. Junie Joseph, Colorado State Representative. The network, by the way, has about 200 or more members. They're either policymakers or lawmakers. So combined, they have significant influence over the course of things. And because they are Haitian Americans, obviously the powers that be in this country are going to pay a lot of attention to what they do, for what they stand for, and what they believe in. So part of the challenge here is to ensure that the network enters into a constant dialogue with community activists, community advocates, and the Haitian American leaders, so that they have together that we can walk forward together on the same front. This said, without further ado, let me introduce a keynote speaker, Magali Komodoni. Magali is a coordinator of the Commission for Haitian Solutions, a member of the Bureau de Suivi de l'Accord de Montana, in short, the Montana Accord, delegated to the Commission by the Collectif des Artistes Engagés. A law graduate from the Faculty of Law and Economics of Port-au-Prince, a theater artist, and an activist, she has been and remains part of all the struggles against dictatorship and for the establishment of democracy in Haiti. She was Minister of Culture and Communication of the Democratic Transition Government that transited from 2004 to 2006. She was also, during this period, a member of the Commission for the Negotiation with Demobilized Soldiers and member of the Commission for the Support of the Provisional Electoral Council. Magali Komodoni is involved in social work, notably as the founding member and president of the Akin Solidarity Foundation, Akin being a city in the south of Haiti, and as a member of the Community Development Network. She was also a founding member, coordinator, and spokesperson for the group NON, Collectif d'Artistes et Intellectuels pour la Défense de la Liberté en Haïti, the collective of artists and intellectuals for the defense of freedoms in Haiti. She has published in Refonder Haïti, a collective essay edited by Rodney Saint-Éloi, Lionel Trouillon and Pierre Buteau, édition Mémoire d'Encrier, and in le prix du Jean Claudis, Arbitraire, Parodie, Désocialisation, the prize of Jean Claudism, Arbitrariness, Parody, Désocialization, edited by Pierre Buteau and Lionel Trouillon. Magali is the mother of 4 children, 3 girls and 3 boys and a girl. So I want you to give a round of applause to Magali Komodoni, who I'm pleased has joined us today.
Greeting to all. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Let me tell you, please don't be mad at me. I asked for interpreter. Dr. Juan Daniels didn't want to, and I don't speak English. So I beg your indulgence. My accent is horrible, but I didn't want to miss this opportunity for Haiti. And I thank you in advance. After having heard Velina, did the word genocide comes to your mind, to our mind? We Haitians know that what is happening today takes its roots in the denial of our dream of democracy. Despite the repeated obstacles in recent history, our quest for an affirmed civic life, a sovereign future as a people, and our faith in democracy have remained intact. We have never stopped searching, never stopped reaching out to embrace this democracy that constantly evades us. With contested elections, voter suppression, public stuffing of ballot boxes by armed men, falsification of voting results, successive fraudulent elections of two presidents who with barely 10% of the electorate's votes in 2010 and 2017. And with that, the major European and North American democracies, international organizations such OIS and UN, international observers applauding this parody and hailing without any even the travesty of the Haitian democracy. But the Haitian people know that these powers that promote democracy are lying to us, and that it is not democracy, and that it is not how they practice it in their countries. So we protest. We demand true democracy, sometimes impetuously, but always peacefully. The response of the state and of its henchmen remains invariable. Total contempt of violent repression, decades ago by the army, today by the police, or by reinforced and rearmed gangs acting like a militia. On January 2021, Haitian civil society was called upon to address the grievances affecting the entire country. The organization named Coalition of the Civil Society Actors, CSC, convened a forum to rally civil society around a common project to save the Haitian nation. The political resolutions of this forum were soon led to the creation of the Commission for a Haitian Solution to the Crisis. And farmers' organizations, peasant organizations, human rights group, women rights group, religious association, Protestant, Catholic, Episcopal, Voodoo, artists, the diaspora, teachers' union, workers' unions, transporters' unions, all took part in forming this commission, for which the solution to the current crisis was to lay the foundations for a solution to the structural crisis characterized by the permanent conflict between the state and the nation. For 6 months, from March 2021, well before the heinous assassination of President Moïse, to August of the same year, this commission humbly engaged inclusive dialogue with other political players, with players from civil society, institutional private sector, the most representative political parties, with no exclusive at all. It listened and sought the smallest common denominator, placing Haiti first, rather than the individual or clan interest. These hundreds of meetings gave rise to an initial document of agreement which was submitted to the stakeholders during some 15 interactive workshops, during which the document was modified to include their new inputs. And on August 30, 2021, at the Montana Hotel, and throughout the month of September 2021, the Commission officially collected close to 1,100 signatures from civil organizations, parties, and grouping of parties, anonymous and influential personalities, renewing their commitment of respect for the sovereignty of the Haitian state, its republican form, and its democratic character, to the rejection of violence as a means of political expression and the use of dialogue, to the fight against corruption and impunity, to transparency and accountability. This is how the now called Montana Accord come into being, in this formidable gathering of social and political actors contradicting the assertion that Haitians are tearing each other apart and are incapable of coming together. Meanwhile, during the process, the political crisis continued to worsen. The mandate of elected officials come to an end. The ruling PHTK party have not organized any election. Jovenel Moïse governed by decree. His term of office was contested. Demonstrations multiplied. Repression intensified. Crime reigned all the way to the murder of the President of the Republic. The country was forced into a transition. But the institutions of the Republic were by then dysfunctional and unable to provide any legal or constitutional response to that crisis. The only recourse in such situation remains an agreement between the driving forces of the society. In the full exercise of the right to political initiative and in the reconquest of our sovereignty, the Montana Accord proposed a mechanism for building a transition based on an ethical and democratic framework that is inclusive, transparent, and participatory. For that force of society form around that agreement, the aim is to build social legitimacy, to provide transitional leaders, to create the conditions for national stability with a view to a return to constitutional normality and the restoration of democratic order, to create conditions for security, for the effective exercise of citizenship, and to rebuild the population confidence in the electoral process in order to hold genuine elections and an essential condition for political stability. And to achieve this, we need to strengthen and broaden the consensus in a permanent dialogue with all players and give priority to political negotiation. To maintain its democratic and transparent character and to give itself the means to act, the Montana Accord created a set of bodies in which representatives of the signatory sectors actively participate. The Bureau de suivi de l'accord, responsible in conducting political negotiations, the National Transition Council, made of 42 delegates from political parties and organizations, which organize the elections. We have one person who has been elected in those elections, Stephen Benoit, who has been elected as the Prime Minister for the transition. But we decide for the fight, to be more free to fight, to quit that posture for ethical reason. And those delegates in the second part would be a new council for the control of the transition and a substitute to the non-existent parliament. Also, a body called the Sector's Representative Committee for the Negotiations, and two very important permanent consultative bodies, the Political Forum and the Civil Society Platform. That, in a nutshell, is the process that makes up the Montana Accord, and admittedly imperfect agreement, but democracy itself is imperfect, you know. And for more than 2.5 years, we've certainly some few mistakes along the way, but always firm at the helm, despite the lies, manipulation, and attempt at division. The Montana Accord fights relentlessly for democracy and the rule of law in the face of that autocratic power already described by Velina. 2 years of heinous crimes, corruption, impunity, social disintegrations and massacres. And since the beginning of 2020, the insecurity that degenerated into a genocide of the populations living in working class neighborhoods and surrounding rural localities. And in the face of that, in response to that, the government's wait-and-see attitude towards the international force is had been begging for over almost a year. The accumulation of these facts, which threaten the existence of the Haitian population, clearly indicates the need and the urgency for the resignation of that de facto Prime Minister and his government, and the implementation of a true democratic transition capable of creating the condition for uncontested elections, capable of breaking the links between the political and economic leaders with the gangs. Our proposition toward this are follows, summarized. A transitional governance consisting of a transitional council, a collegial presidency, with the constitutional powers of the presidency, a new prime minister, an inclusive, non-partisan governance of national unity and rescue, a body to oversee government action a functional judicial system with bodies mandated for the duration of the transition. Its mission will be, in order, restore and clean up collapsed state institutions and implement necessary transitional reforms, re-establish conditions of public security for the proper functioning of republican institutions and respect for the fundamental rights of the population, organize a national conference to address the constitutional question and the political party reforms and the relations between the state and the society, between the state and the citizen, between the state and the nation. Set up the Provincial Electoral Council, review the electoral system, and organize general election to renew political personnel. Take exceptional measures to revive the economy, combat food insecurity and epidemics, catch up for children who have missed out on schooling over the past 4 years and get social and cultural life back on track. These measures are detailed in a roadmap. We propose detailed procedure for each step enumerated above, including for a calm, reasonable process for the resignation of the Prime Minister and his replacement, a controlled process that would not cause chaos, but rather create the path out of the current chaos. Since the end of the 30-year-long Duvalier dictatorship in 1986, we have had 2 transitional governments, both of which respected their mandates and delivered the only 2 uncontested elections of our recent history. In 1990 and in 2006, both transitions were brokered by civil society and political force with support from the international community. With your solidarity, with the solidarity of our regional and international partners, this process can be carried out in a totally peaceful and civilized manner, enabling Haiti to look to the future differently. When it comes to Haiti, we know stability is more important to the United States than democracy. We can prove that the 2 cannot be dissociated. I remain available for your questions, and thank you very much for your attention.
Let's have another round of applause for our 2 speakers. Presentations. They both give the lie to the fact, to the notion that Haiti does not have enough qualified people, to lead the transition, to lead us to democracy. I mean, I think Haiti, in fact, has a lot of very bright, young, passionate people, who are able to do just about anything that they put their mind to. And this is the kind of thing that we want to support and we want to see happen in our lifetime. I think one wants to say.
Excuse me. We do need the. If someone's here from the busboys, we need this mic for the Q&A period. So I don't know whether anybody is back there. I can hardly see, but we need to get this mic activated if we possibly can. Let me just say that these presentations have been utterly extraordinary. In addition to being a political activist, and I am that, I'm also a political scientist. That's professionally. I'm actually a professor, and I teach political science. And what I'm saying is, I say that because what you have heard revalidates in my own mind that what we are hearing in terms of the Montana Accord movement, agreement and movement is the solution. It is so brilliantly conceived. The inclusion of all parties and factions, and this is what's needed in order. And so what we need is to, in fact, develop. Mr. Secretary of State, Mr. Gomez, because we're going to be the ones working with him and others to advocate. So I'm hoping that you clearly understand this, the process is what we're talking about. And I'm telling you, you know, I haven't worked doing this work for all this. I have never, this is the best, most promising process that I've heard. And I want to be fully behind it and fully supporting it. And I know that Congressman Meeks, because he and I have talked about it, and we generally agree, sometimes we disagree. He's a dear friend of mine. And I know from the very beginning when Monique Kleska came to the Pan-African Unity Dialogue and came on, and I called him and he had a meeting with them, he said we were in lock, stock agreement. So we know we have his support. And what we mean by lock, stock agreement is pushing the President of the United States and the State Department not to interfere, but to follow and support this process. That is our mission. That is our goal. So now what we want to do is actually get dialogue and questions from the audience, but I need this mic because I'm going to play Donahue from back in the day and sort of run around the audience. Johnny, I need you to keep it stacked. But we need this mic activated. This is not I don't want to have people standing. I guess people's voices are loud enough, but I just wanted to make sure it was amplified. And I didn't want to have people sort of standing in line. So comments, questions are now in order. Anybody who wants
that we have scheduled an hour for a conversation, an hour for a dialogue, and we really want to make sure that we have a dialogue with you. These people came from Haiti, and they are, as you have heard, they're terrific people. They're full of ideas, they're full of knowledge of the situation. So please take advantage of their presence. Make your questions or comments short so that they can, in turn, respond adequately.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Winkuni Seon. Thank you for the remarks shared. They were phenomenal. I'm here representing the Haitian Times, and I had a question. Why has the Montana Accord been unable to reach a compromise with the Prime Minister's government, given that the longer the political impasse stands, the deeper into crisis Haiti falls? At which point will the compromise no longer be worth it?
Thank you very much for that question. That makes 2 years that we called for negotiation. We have always been the one who initiate the dialogue, who invited the Prime Minister to negotiate with us. But one thing that I want to say at first, the country is not in that situation because of a lack of consensus. It's not because there is no consensus that the courts are closed, the schools are closed, the streets aren't clean. It's not because of a lack of consensus. It's because you have a government that doesn't care about the population and that doesn't know what it means for a state to serve. We have tried, but the Prime Minister always answered he is in power in the name of the Constitution, and that, yes, he's open to work with everybody or with all other sectors under his leadership. That leadership has failed. The results talk by themselves. And today, what would be a compromise would be the consecration of the impunity of a responsible of the state that who created the conditions for the gang to lead the country, to control the territories. And that's why, after he took his this posture of negotiation, how do we say dilatoire, to gain time, to stay in power, and saying, I'm negotiating. This is the best position for him. Not conclude any negotiation, but saying, I'm negotiating. So for everybody to wait for the issue of the negotiation. We don't want to serve as a pretext anymore to prolong the suffering of the people. It's time for him to leave.
If I may add something also, the Prime Minister has always made it very clear that to him, negotiations with the other stakeholders means giving a couple of jobs, giving a couple of ministries, giving a couple of general direction, as if people are only seeking their part of.
You just need to use one mic. You just need to use the other mic.
As if what we need in Haiti is a part of the cake. That's not what the Montana is about. The Montana Accord is about very deep change. It's about a change in the way that we are building this nation. It is not about me needing to become a minister. That's not who I am. I mean, I'm an activist, I'm very vocal, and I need to have my right of speech. So I think it's very important you represent the Haitian Times, and everybody in the room. It's very important to understand that the process that the Montana Accord is advocating for is a process that will address profound social and political change. It's breaking away from decades of bad governance. It does not give me my little piece of cake. That is not the process. Nobody involved in the Montana Accord, in the Bureau de Suivi, which is the Bureau of the Montana Accord, is looking for a job. We are looking for change, meaningful, sustainable change. We are looking for that path towards a country, a nation where all of us can live. That is our goal, and it's very important to understand that. So the Prime Minister has put all of the Haitian people into that path of wasting time, because negotiations and dialogue can be endless. And today what we are saying is 2 years later, that has to stop. When are we going to say, okay, it's obvious that you do not want change? Then you have to graciously step down and let the people who can bring the change work towards that change. And this is the point where we are today.
Just want to add, when we say that the negotiation has to end, that doesn't mean we are not anymore at the table. but we are negotiating something else. The modality of his departure, to make sure that it is being done peacefully. The delay, the modality, the passation to the new transition. And it's not a question of Montana being in power, replacing Ariel Henry. No, Montana created a mechanism to involve all the society in that new transition. Yes, being part of that transition, but not leading it. Thank you.
Mel Foote, I'm the president of an organization called Constituency for Africa, and our mission is to work to build public and private support for Africa in the United States and in the diaspora. We've expanded our mission to also look at Africa beyond the diaspora. And last week, in fact, we held a meeting at the Cuban embassy for African diaspora leaders, and sure, Haiti came up, and they had some interesting thoughts on Haiti. My question is, we're working on Africa, and right now our hands are full. Just 2 weeks ago, we had an earthquake in Morocco, 10,000 people died. We had a flood in Libya, over 20,000 people are dead. The black world is inundated with trouble. And we all want to help Haiti. Haiti is special for black people throughout the world. The way the Haitians stood up even against the French is an inspiration to all of us. But I can say that the world is tired. If it's not one thing, it's another thing. We got bad governance and the value games. We got earthquake killing lots of people across the country. We got AIDS pandemic. We got all kinds of issues. Every time we hear Haiti, we don't hear a solution. Now I'm all for the core, some discussion point. You got to start somewhere, and maybe Ron Daniels and others are going to push us to understand the court better and see how we cannot play a more active role in it. But my question to you, the diaspora wants to respond. My good friend from Kenya has offered to provide security to help send some troops and police to Haiti to help monitor the gangs and that sort of thing. My question to you, is that a good idea?
Thank you very much. I noted that you talked about the fatigue of everybody, because there is always a problem. I'd like to tell you, to talk about our fatigue. Our fatigue of those constant interferences in our life, ingerence in our life, in our political life. We are under the domination of the Occidental powers in the United States of America, and this is where we are. It's us who feel fatigue. And we would like not to hear about all those countries, all those communities who feel Haitian, something that called now the Haitian fatigue. If the leaders fight for our destiny, they will have time to rest. Is it a good idea for Kenya to come to do what? I mean, people are talking about international intervention as it would mean automatically security. Is there any plan? Nothing is more obscure than that project of international intervention. Whether it is Kenya or Rwanda or Canada. we have a plan to fight the insecurity, knowing that insecurity is not the cause of our malheur, how do you say malheur? Misfortune. Of our troubles. That insecurity is a consequence. How are you going to fight the consequence? Without touching the causes. We know that insecurity is a political insecurity. It is nourished by impunity. No one has never been arrested for any kind of crime described. And whenever one person is arrested, the political authority or economic authority intervene and free that person. Kenya will come to cooperate with that government. I never heard about the Kenya's plan for security. You know, it's not like a hunting party where you have the bandits like birds flying and you come with your guns and shoot at the bird. What will it happen if the bird don't fly? They go back to their cage with their guns and wait for you to leave. You know, and now our security is in auction. It is $200,000 a year, now it's $400, and now they are asking for $800 and $1 billion in auction. And 100 and now billion for the force. We have never heard about those kind of money for our national police force or for our army. Why we are not allowed to build our army and to ask for foreign armies to come to Haiti? Who tried to fight the insecurity? What we say is, let's go first to that political problem that nourishes the insecurity. And we need surely a massive assistance of the international community. But we have to discuss it. Again, today the only problem of Haiti is insecurity. How was it before that crisis? We were okay. We didn't have any other problem. It has to be a package. And that new governance will negotiate with the Security Council, with the United States of America, with Canada, with Kenya, with Rwanda, with Jamaica, if they have enough time to solve their gangs problems in Kenya also. And we will negotiate with them and will define the path of cooperation, what our police needs, because the police is fighting and they are dying in the battle of fight. Are they ready to die for us? We are ready to die for ourselves. Let's try. Give me the chance to try. And if I can't, I won't be, how do you say, okay?
Pride.
I won't be too proud to ask for help. But I want to try. And I know my problem. You know, the guns don't have uniform. How are you going to go into that ghettos and get them? What are you going to do with all those people sanctioned by the United States and Canada who are feeding the gangs?
Kenya is coming to fight against them also. You are going in the mountains of Port-au-Prince and shoot at all those families. I don't want to name him, I don't want problem. You are going only in the ghettos. Because the insecurity has a source. What if the United States of America stop the flow of gun and ammunition that arrive to Haiti through Miami River? 95% of the guns pass through Miami River in Florida. When you don't have ammunition, what is a gun? A piece of wood. There are many solutions before we have that just band-aid. It would be a band-aid with a temporary solution. And that would put us in 6 months after their departure to be there, having those beautiful people listening to those fantastic survived women. No, we don't want that. We want to solve the problem. We made the demonstration of our capacity to take charge. Then we will discuss. Thank you.
Thank you, Magali. I'm not going to add a lot of things. I'm just, because you represent Africa, I'm just going to add one thing. Are we really discussing sending black people to kill black people? Are we really discussing about that?
All right, before we take the next question, I don't know that Mel's going to respond to your question because this is done by the hour now. Before we take the next question, let me recognize in this room another councilman from North Miami, Mr. Pierre Franchard. Welcome. I did not mention.
It's probably me.
We have another question. The mic's, she apologized for the mic's question. She's gonna walk up. And let me just suggest that brevity will allow for more participation and more engagement as we go along. We need to shorten the answer so that more people involved in the conversation.
Okay, so there was a third person here.
Bonjour tout le monde. Good morning, everyone. Afternoon. To Dr. Blaise, Gloria Blaise. I'm happy to be here, everyone, and you ladies inspire me. Merci en pile. I am Director of Research for Haiti Policy House, a new think tank that my colleagues and I founded here in DC. And so my question is about this whole diaspora, right? Engaging with the diaspora, parce que we're a big group, we're very influential, but we're also scared, and with reason. So, excuse my ignorance for not knowing the full accord, parce que I'm in natural resources, so I'm learning the policy. So, my question is, does the Montana Accord lay out a process for diaspora who are not in Haiti, to engage in this transition process, or is most of our influence going to be through the Haitian American elected officials that are stateside, that will then funnel our interests to policies on the state side to then influence the Haiti policy? Or is there an actual direct way for the Haitian diaspora to engage with this process that you are suggesting? And if not, what advice do you have for us as we wait to find or discover a process that allows us to directly engage with, Mun IT that's trying to, I guess, propose this process for transition? Thank you.
The Montana Accord is inclusive. And by being inclusive, it's thinking about all Haitians, including the diaspora. There are groups from the diaspora, organizations from the diaspora, who have signed the Montana Accord, who have been part of the Montana process since the very beginning. Since we started with the coalition of civil society, groups and organizations and associations from the diaspora were very part of the process. So we have discussed that process with them, and it is very clearly laid out how they will be able to participate. We even at one time had different talks with leaders in the diaspora about holding a position in the collegial that we are proposing.
In the commission that I coordinate, there is a member who represents a coalition of organizations of the diaspora, Mrs. Mirta Desulme, who lives in Jamaica. She represents FOD, but we are not perfect, and there are so many organizations in the diaspora, in Haiti also, that everybody is not there. But we would like so much to welcome all those organizations who are willing to work with us, with the Haitian population. We welcome, we are demanding that cooperation. Anyway, Haiti will get out of this crisis essentially with the support of its diaspora. There is no question about it. But we cannot create a process for the diaspora. We talk about a lot about sovereignty. Sovereignty of the nation, sovereignty of the people. Autonomy of the people, autonomy of their dignity or of their capacity of organize themselves. I give a special salutation to Haiti, which is represented by its chairman Jean-Philippe Austin, who is there, who is a Haitian or American organization of the diaspora, and who that works a lot to stay close to what is happening in Haiti and not in being part of the Montana Accord. But we also Larry, who is there, Dr. Pierre from the foundation, or here as the executive director. They are there with us, and we have a website, www.increoleaccormontana.ht, and let's talk and let's work together. You don't have to be one of the signatories of the accord. We work with a lot of organizations to create that force of society that Haiti needs today.
Bonsoir tout le monde. Premièrement, je vais commencer par féliciter nos mesdames pour la belle présentation que nous fait après-midi. I'd like to congratulate you for such powerful presentations this afternoon. Moi, salue le courage, moi, salue la détermination, moi, salue la résilience, moi, salue tout le sacrifice que nous avons fait pour le peuple haïtien, pour le pays d'Haïti, car ouais, un jour meilleur. I salute your courage, your resilience, your determination, and all the efforts that you've been making so that Haiti can see a new day. There's a correction I'd like to bring because I've been hearing it all over the country that Kenya has offered to go to Haiti. Kenya has not offered to go to Haiti. Kenya has been sought and offered millions of dollars to intervene in Haiti when the Haitian people have never asked for intervention to the country. So I think this needs to be made clear. That's number one. Number two, historically, no nation in the world has progressed or thrived as a result of an intervention. Why do we think that it will be different for Haiti? And why would Kenya, which has problems with terrorism, human rights, gender rights, cholera, which is endemic there, and we know how Haiti has suffered as a result of past interventions, including UN-led missions, which contributed to 10,000 people to die after they contracted cholera, brought by a UN nation, country, that brought it to Haiti. And now you have Kenya, where cholera is endemic, and we are asking and promoting under the leadership of the US for Kenya to go to Haiti, and as my dear presenter asked, to do what? To kill black people? Because we know without the shadow of a doubt that any intervention in the motherland, these people will not go there to fight the gangs. Kenya has said it itself, and Miami Herald tweeted it, that Kenya indicated that it will not go there to fight the gangs. It will go there to protect interests. The question is, whose interest? Whose interest? And my third point is the fact that the US is the most powerful nation in the world. The Secretary of Homeland, Mr. Alejandro Mayorkas, went to Florida twice in the past 2 years. The first time he went there, and Dr. Olsten, Dr. Pierre, and most of the Haitian leaders, elected officials were part of that meeting at the Notre Dame Church, an iconic church in Little Haiti. I was the last person to speak. Secretary of Defense Alejandro Mayorkas was there to promote the $20 billion that President Biden was proposing to send to Haiti after the earthquake, as you may recall. And I stood up and I said, Secretary Mayorkas, I don't want to talk about the whole presentation, but the main thing I told him is that I have a message for President Biden. If President Biden truly wants to help Haiti, the most important thing he can do is to close the dam that is sending heavy weapons to Haiti. That was in 2021. Secretary Mayorkas came back recently to Little Haiti, to the Little Haiti Cultural Center. And we asked him, what happened? We gave you a message to President Biden. Now, we have 14 years old, young kids, 12, 11, with heavy weapons, killing and maiming people. What's going on? Have you shared the message with the president? No response. Now I'm saying this, I'm sharing this with you to say this. If the US really wanted to help Haiti, if the US really wanted to bring security to Haiti, if the US wanted to eliminate the gangs in Haiti, don't you think that he would have done it? Do you see how the US is helping Ukraine? When the US is protecting its own interests, don't you see what it does? It invests at every level to make sure that the country has the ammunition that it needs to fight back. What has the US done? What has the US done to fight back? When young girls are being collectively raped, when genocide is taking place only a few hours from here, when people are being internally displaced, they are so desperate that at one point they went in front of the US Embassy to say, help me, and then what did Oyalavi and his goons did? You bash you shoot at them, you cut you. Yes. My dear friends, I cannot keep this mic too long. My dear friends from the other organizations, the African organizations, representing NAACP, Reverend Jesse Jackson went to Haiti with me when we were fighting for the temporary protected status. The message is this: the Haitian people want to have a chance to trailblaze their own destiny. No foreign nation can do that. Only the Haitian people can do that. No nation can thrive under constant interference and meddling, and Haiti has not had a break. Through the leadership of Neon, which is historic, you have Haitian American elected officials, 76% of them, use their voices collectively to state, we do not want any intervention. The Haitian people do not want any intervention. We, elected leaders, we support them because we know what past interventions have done. We don't want it, but this is what you need to do, the US. If you're really genuine about helping, this is what you want to do. Number one, stop propping up the illegal, corrupt, murderous regime. Number two, stop the flow of arms, heavy weapons to Haiti, and I'm ending. Stop the flow of heavy weapons to Haiti. Number three, support a Haitian-led solution. And then lastly, what was the fourth one again, Honorable Jeanette Frederick? The fourth one.
Investigate what's happening from Florida to Haiti. People ask from Haiti to Dominican Republic as well.
Yes. Yes, so this young lady here, I'd like you to stand up, Honorable Jeanette Frederick. Please give her. Yes. So with her leadership, and I'm closing, my dear friend Johnny, I'm closing. With her leadership, 76 Haitian American elected officials, stood up in support of the Haitian people. What you can do right now is help share this letter. Help share it. Because if Haiti goes through another intervention, only God knows. Only God knows. So unfortunately I'm late for a meeting, but I'd like you, really would like you, I'm going to leave my cards here. Reach out, better yet, talk to the chair, help us with the letter. And then lastly, while this is going through, the U.S. continues to deport people to Haiti, men, women, and children. So Haiti doesn't need another intervention. We need the support to the Haitian people so that they can have a chance to trailblaze their own path, their own destiny. They need it. Let's get it done.
Thank you, Marlon. If you ever wondered how come Africans stood up in 1791, about more than 200 years ago, and basically decided that they were going to be challenging one of the most powerful countries in the world, you just have to look at Marlene and say, hey, man, she is a fine descendant of these people. So let's give her another round of applause. She was, however, a little bit long, but I forgive you. Thank you. I have a couple of words from Charnette herself, and then after Charnette, it's going to be Bob Maguire.
Honneur. First, I wanted to say thank you for Hafdi and the organizer for putting this event together. This is simply amazing. As you heard a lot about NEON, the National Haitian American Elected Official Network, we are strong over 156 members. At this time, we have a lot of our members who is here. Please stand up, please give them a big round of applause. I know we already acknowledging them. Honorable Cassandra Timothy, you are the last to acknowledge. We're really proud of all of our members. In the past, they used to state it that we're not structured, we're not organized, we don't know what we want. Today, as a 501c3, Republican, Democrat, I'm telling the United States, we're structured, we're organized, and we know exactly what we want. With the help of our Haitian brothers and sisters, with the help of all the organizations within the diaspora, We are ready and we are with you. Thank you for all that you do. Femme voyant pas prêter pour quand. Comme vous l'avez des garçons voyants, tu fais ça, oui.
Bob, if you want to come to the mic.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Bob McGuire. Some of you know me, and it's a pleasure to see many of my old friends and colleagues here. And thank you for your interventions. Appreciate that very much. Magdalene, you used a phrase that struck me when you were talking about the international support of the two elections in Haiti, where fewer than 10% of the electorate voted in Martelly and Moise. You spoke of the international community applauding this parity. So here you are in the city that needs the applause, and it's applauding the parity today as well. I'm wondering if you can give us any insights into how you understand why the leaders of this country, the US, continue to applaud this parity. Is it simply a matter of hubris? Is it simply, as you mentioned, they choose stability over democracy? Are they afraid of change? Are they afraid of you? Are they afraid of taking any risks? Are they afraid of fallout in elections in Florida, for example, if they take a risk and it fails? Dr. Austin, you mentioned that you're going to be hosting a fundraiser for the Vice President of the U.S. We haven't heard much from her, if anything, about Haiti. Why will not she speak out on Haiti? Why does this Biden administration continue to applaud the parity of Haiti? Just one quick story before I ask you to respond. I mean, I have tried in my own way, with the insights and avenues that I have to speak with people, to try to influence them to take a risk. And at one time, before the most recent Summit of the Americas in Los Angeles, President Biden's special advisor called me to speak to me and get some advice about Haiti. I'll spare you the details, but one thing I asked him, I said, look, I know there's going to be photographs at the Summit of the Americas. The president, by all means, should avoid having his photograph taken with Ariel Henry, who is the de facto prime minister who has no respect of the Haitian people. Oh yes, came the response. If there's a photograph taken, it would be a group photograph. 3-4 days later, I open up my newspaper in the morning, there's the photograph. Biden with Ariel Henry. So clearly, they didn't listen to me. Do they listen to you? Can you help us to understand why it is that you've been marginalized? Why it is that this applauding of the parity continues endlessly? Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. McGuire. I'm very pleased to see you in person. I would like so much to know the answer. And it has always been like that. Yes, you give part of answer when you say, and I said it also, that usually the United States of America choose political stability over democracy. But I can try also, and Daniel Foote today said it in his letter. Also, I think that we have some element of response in that letter. But for me, the principal answer could be there. Democracy to be vivid, to be strong everywhere. Democracy, in fact, needs Democrats. There are so few Democrats in the world. When we look at, I'm here since 3 weeks, I have to be with family, some at hospitals, some at school. American people have to fight for democracy, still have to fight for democracy. We don't have to give an election, but we don't want also to be in the theory of plot. But I have to consider the fact that Haiti, regarding that arrogance in her history, doesn't have to never be a leading country again. And when you see how Haitians lead in the other countries, in the United States, in France, they are all in the position of leading. They know that if that country arrives to get back the position of leading that we had at the years of the independence and after, maybe they are afraid that that part of the country, the Caribbean region, the Latin American region, risk to have a special regard to that country and to set back from the domination of the... even if we are in that situation, we are still in the imagination of so many people, so many countries. We are still a model, an example offered by our history. When I was a minister, the President Lula had created a minister linked directly to him to fight the racism, but also to make, it was the minister to the equity of race, but the integration of the races made the black Brazilian unable to fight. And the example of emancipation that he offered them was Haiti. They came in a big delegation to visit the citadel, etc. It's with our history that he fight to emancipate the black Brazilian. So that, I think that causes us a lot of problem. I don't want to talk about what we have on gold mines of whatever. I think they don't need to put us in that situation to stiff everything. They don't even have to be there physically. But what they are trying to fight, it was they are stimulating
our resistance, our knowledge of our victories in the past, what we offered to other nations, and our arrogance. That is what they are. And you know, so when you say Kenya will come to help, we don't talk about the help anymore in Haiti. I don't want to ask for help. I ask for solidarity. That's something else.
Thank you so much for all that was shared. Just very powerful messages today and very energizing. My name is Gretchen Rohr, and I have the privilege that I've been working the last year and a half following Haitians who have been directing me on how to build out a legal claim in the reparations for whether it is for the occupation, the violence that came from the United States itself, or even the original debt that has just been a cycling violence and destruction and dismantling of Haiti itself. I actually want to thank also Dr. Daniels, who's worth repeating, recognizing, and really appreciating IBW, but also particularly Dr. Daniels, and how he has been mobilizing the African American community here on stateside to recognize how we can tie in and connect the demands and the needs of the diaspora throughout the globe. And thankful that I've been able to follow and listen to Haitians within the diaspora, particularly thanks to Ariel, Dominique, and Hafti for supporting and really guiding this work. I know it's very clear that the Montana Accord does not speak directly to reparations, and the challenge has been so much of advocates and activists I see a pitting against each other of those working on development, those who are working on debt relief, those who are working on securing the right to reparations, and how exactly you speak to solidarity. And I see as many ways as Haiti has been attacked and oppressed are the ways that we can hopefully pursue solutions. But not being Haitian myself, I really know I need to listen more. So I'd love to hear your advice for those who are trying to work towards goals of securing reparations without it distracting from the very critical demands and goals that are defined by the Montana Accord. Thank you.
The topic of reparation in Haiti, we have a history about that. Haiti is in the states that it is today because of the independence debt, followed by the US banks ransoms, and followed by all of the years of the US occupation, and them stealing our golds, and them staying into our political interfering, putting their hands on the scale and everything. It is worth mentioning that in 2004, at the time President Aristide brought up the subject of reparation, what happened is history. Whether you were a Lavalas or not, it is worth understanding that part of our history. It is worth understanding how France reacted towards the Haitian people asking and demanding rightfully reparation. I think it is time, and it has been very long overdue, that we in the Caribbean and in Latin America, all of the countries who were subject to colonialism, will come up together and demand reparation. But what I have seen so far in terms of work that's being done towards that reparation is discussing fund baskets where they are going to build hospitals, they are going to build public administration offices, they again are going to dictate how we have to run our own country. And it is that violation of our sovereignty that has to stop. Reparations toward the crime that colonialism was and still is in many other ways because we talk about neocolonialism. Reparation needs to be led by Black people. We need to decide what we are going to invest that money that's going to come back in. And mostly, we need to be able to take that the claim of reparation as a way to weave back the thread of our nation together. We live so close to each other, yet we speak so many languages that we have very little relationship. On one island, Haiti and the Dominican Republic, we speak Creole, they speak Spanish. So we do not understand each other. Many other islands speak English. So I think the work towards reparation is also one way to heal our collective trauma and our collective wounds, and another way to bring back solidarity, sisterhood, brotherhood in those many islands. It is a discussion that needs to happen more and more, and it is a discussion that needs to happen into the forefront. But it needs to be supported by everybody, because reparation in reality is not a matter of color, it is a matter of justice. But it needs to be in the forefront by Black people, because we suffered what happened. The bad was done to us. So in Haiti, for example, maybe today is not D-Day, but this will come, because it is part of everything that is rightfully due to us.
I will be very brief. Just want to, on behalf of my colleagues, I want to thank these two awesome Haitian women, these two powerful Black women, for their brilliant presentations today. I want to salute them for their courage and for their vision, and to say to them that they embody the revolutionary spirit of Toussaint Louverture and Jean-Jacques Dessalines, both of whom we from around the entire Caribbean region and in fact the entire Black diaspora also hold up as our historical heroes. This has been a truly historic discussion, and we are fortunate that we have been able to capture it. We have now all of this on videotape, and within the next few days, all of this will be made available in edited form on the IBW's website. So I urge everyone who is here, and first of all, let me also thank everyone who showed up in spite of the weather. We shall have excerpts of all of the presentations made today available on the IBW's website. The address of that website is ibw21.org. It's pretty simple, if you could make a note of it. All right, so we thank you again, and we urge you to spread the word to those who would not be able to make it physically today, that they will be able to view the content, this awesome content, on our website in the coming days. Thank you again, sisters. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being here. My name is Wolf Ponfield. I'm the founder of Haiti Policy House. I gotta say, it's an honor for me to be here with you. I've seen so many videos of you. Guys, you will all on any YouTube channels. Gloria and I, we launched a think tank, key focus exactly on Haiti. One thing we noticed is that between catastrophes that happen in Haiti, whether it's insecurity or natural disasters, between those two, nothing is happening. No one is talking about Haiti, no one is focusing on Haiti. So I came here today to learn about the Montana Accord, and I learned a lot. And one question that I have, or two questions that I have, is what are the obstacles you see blocking your work from reaching the U.S. as a whole, and also the U.S. government? And the second question is, are there, maybe for the elected officials as well, are there any bills being drafted or currently active that would promote this work to reach, I guess, to have some kind of impact, like we could push forward? If not, we would love to work with you to draft one and making sure that something happens. Thank you.
What's preventing the Montana Accord from being known and from being accepted? I'm going to be very blunt and very frank. Historically in Haiti, the United States is used to having puppets. It is probably one of the very few times in our history that they have people in front of them speaking and discussing with them eye to eye and not asking for anything in return. And they don't have any dirt against that they can say, okay, if you don't do this, we will do that to you. And they don't swallow that pill very well. So when we go, yeah, I said that I was being very, very blunt. When we go in meetings with them and we tell them that this is what we want for our country, and they come and make demands like, you need to go in the radio and tell the Haitian people that they need to accept an intervention. And we're like, no. And the F word follows. And they don't like us. And they look at us in the eye and say, this is never going to see light. We will not allow it to happen. Yes, that's how it happens in Haiti. If you disagree with the US ambassador, your life is over. You will lose your job, you will lose your social cycle, and they will go as far as calling your boss or calling the owner of the company where you work for. It happened to me. So I am testifying about something that happened to me. They will go as far as calling the chairman of your company, demanding that you are laid off. So I think one of the very reasons why this is not seen through is pure simple racism. Refusing the right for the Haitian people, the first Black Republic, of being sovereign, but more importantly, financially sovereign. The second thing that we need to understand is that international humanitarian aid is a business. People make a whole career and they make a way of living, and this is the bread and butter, by going to countries where there are crises and problems. And the bureaucracy of that machine, a lot of the time, keeps the country in the crisis, because the crisis is good for their pockets and their interest. The crisis is good for the rice farmers of the states. Haiti is what I think the third biggest buyer of rice of Florida. The third. Tiny Haiti. So it is interest, it is money that's at stake, and when they face people who wants to change the way things have been done historically, we face resistance. But thank God, we are stubborn, we are very stubborn, and we keep pushing.
One point that I would like to add to those of Velina concern us. What Velina said is their reason to block us. But we knew that it wouldn't be easy. We are trying to against a wall that took 200 years to be built. But we know that we have to build that force of society to face it.
That means one thing also. That force is not strong enough. And we need more committed organization, more committed people, more voices to echo ours in Haiti. You need to fight a little more. Let's see, more organizations, more network between the organizations. And if each organization fights in its way, that's good. But when all are put in network, that's the formidable, the Leuze network. Nothing can resist to that. And that means we have to work, to continue to work. And that's what we are doing. If we don't win, it's not only because they are so strong, is that we have to continue to be stronger. That's what I think.
We've had a very rich discussion. Some questions have been asked 2 or 3 times in order to get the answer right. The professor in me is coming out because I listened carefully. So what we want to do is to take this powerful gathering and talk about where do we go from here. Now we've been talking about the Rainbow Push Coalition and Reverend Jesse Jackson and all of those good things, and we've been joined by Congressman Jackson is in the room. Jonathan Jackson is here. So what I would like to do is the following, and is to offer thoughts that I have been developing in terms of how we move forward. And then to yield to Jonathan Jackson and then ultimately yield to our chairman for our conclusion, if you would permit me to do so. I want to address first and foremost the question raised by Bob McGuire. Why won't the U.S. and President Biden listen? Well, they won't listen until we make them listen. It's as simple as that. So what that means is we have to build a powerful movement. And I'm going to say this, that there's been a little fragmentation. You know, our dear beloved John Conyers is not here anymore. He was one of the leading figures. Congressman Meeks has been kind of holding it up. But as Johnny knows, we've been having conversations with people like Keenan Keller, the chair of chief counsel of the Judiciary Committee, about how do we really revive and strengthen the Haiti task force within the Congressional Black Caucus. But I've always said we have to go beyond that. That's one sphere. So as Johnny can attest, one of the things that we talked about in terms of the Haiti Support Project was that this was just the beginning. This first session is just the beginning. We propose to be able to take representatives of the Montana Accord on a tour of the country. We want to go to New York and be hosted by Reverend Al Sharpton, who embraced, when we did Cruising into History, he embraced it. Mark Morial also would have loved to have been here, the president of the Urban League. He's of Haitian descent. He was the chairman of Cruising into History, so he has an interest in this. And so we want to make that stop. We can go to Detroit, where there is a significant Haitian community as well, and the Reverend Wendell Anthony, who is president of the largest NAACP branch in the country, I'm sure would be willing to host you. And I am reasonably confident we can go to Rainbow Push with Reverend Jesse Jackson and the new president, Reverend Frederick Douglass Haynes, and they will be willing to host us. And there are other places that we can go as well. We are going to build a firestorm of support for the Montana Accord. And one of the things we want to do, Mr. Secretary of State, that's Mel Foote over there, and James Gomez and others, I propose that at some point, and we'll figure out the strategy, we then go with a joint delegation of diaspora leadership, representatives of the Montana Accord. Can't be too large, but we'll make it just about right. And we go to the State Department together with the wind, with having gone and toured these cities, having put our stuff on social media, having raised the profile. Because at the end of the day, that is what we are attempting to do. We want to make it clear, unmistakably clear, that the extraordinary process that we have heard here today is historic. It is the way forward, if you will. And so the idea is to create operational unity. We want respectfully, and I do say respectfully, because everyone has a right to their own opinion. We want people to gather around the center and strengthen it. I heard them talk about the fact that some new groups came on and they debated some points and they made some amendments. I mean, you're talking about, that's such a wonderful process. In other words, they're saying all people are welcome to join this great initiative. And so we want to move in that direction. Finally, and Bob McGuire and I have talked about this over the years, I have been forever in support of an idea that the United States government, yes, needs to invest. And we hear you clearly in terms of what some of those investments are to be in terms of security and the issue of solidarity as opposed to intervention. We hear you clearly on that point. And that's important in terms of our language, and we'll adopt and use that language. But Haiti also needs jobs and economic development and education. They need a massive WPA, Roosevelt, New Deal type program. Massive program. To put young people, to put people to work, to train, but give jobs and create economic development. And in fact, I have some hesitation about just going in to sort of put the gangs down, and I'm not advocating for them, but I'd rather give them an incentive to incentivize them to put down their guns, and maybe some of them will become leaders who are actually working with the Montana Accord and working in ways in which to create the peace. So that's just a dream and a vision, but if there is no vision, the people perish. If we don't conceive it, you don't achieve it. So these are some of the ideas I think we need to move forward on. And then finally, and I don't want to miss this point, on reparations, because I'm sort of in the center of that movement globally, actually, doing a lot of work around it. And I had the occasion to be in Colombia, because you know we have a sister, a black woman. She's the first vice president of Colombia, Marcia Marquez, right? And I got a picture of her hugging me too, so I'll keep that one forever. I mean, that made my whole life, if you will. But in that conversation, it was a reparations workshop. And this is not unusual. We had a summit with President Adu in Ghana this last year as well. And I got to tell you, every time we have a meeting around reparations, people raise what? The issue of reparations for Haiti. Every time it comes up. Because there is in the bosom and soul of black people an understanding of the contribution of the Haitian Revolution to all black people. But the issue that came up that they raised in Colombia was, but we don't know which group, how do we align, whatever. And I said, well, I kind of heard there's a group that you might want to hear about. That they might designate someone to be a part of this reparations discussion. So I am now registering that. I mentioned it to Johnny, but I wanted to mention it again. Because if you were to, because I said, if this group that will help to deal with whether this group or that group and whatever, because the Montana Accord is the comprehensive, inclusive group that is moving forward. And so, you know, it's kind of hard. We have to raise some money, whatever we have to do. But if we had a representative, we would help to enable them to come to some of these gatherings, these summit meetings, to represent the interests of Haiti in terms of advancing the reparations movement. So I just wanted to add that to the mix. So those are the kind of commitments that we hope to make with the Haiti Support Project. I've been doing this work, as I said before, for years and years and years and years and years. Y'all can't get rid of me. I'm sorry. You know, I've been imbued, you know, with the spirit of the great resilience of the Haitian people, which has nothing to do with poverty and all that other stuff. It has to do with the beauty and power of a people who achieved, the only people who ever overthrew the slave masters to create a black republic. So that's in my body and that's in my bones. I now want to bring to the rostrum the son of the Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson, but much more. He is in his own right a brilliant thinker, organizer, and visionary. He is now a congressman in the United States of America. Would you please welcome Jonathan Jackson?
How are you? I'd like to first say very special thank you for letting me participate, and to the panelists and to the organizers of this event, to my two longtime colleagues that work with the Rainbow Push Coalition, Mr. Shelley Davis, Mr. James Gomez, thank you very much. Honored to be here, honored to be a member of the 118th Congress, honored to work with Sheila Sherfless McCormick, Sidney Kamlager Dove. You have persons that are on the Foreign Affairs Committee. It's a huge deal for us to win back the House, to have Chairman Greg Meeks to be the chair of the Foreign Affairs Committee. It's amazing that you sit in these committee hearings day after day, week after week, month after month, and you hear about Ukraine, you hear about China, you hear about Taiwan, Ukraine, China, Taiwan, over and over. But there are persons that are in there, such as the colleagues that I've mentioned. We are mentioning the name of Haiti. That's not been mentioned consistently before. We are mentioning the name of Colombia. That's not being mentioned consistently. So representation, voting matters. I had the honor yesterday on my Congressional Black Caucus panel to have the Vice President of Colombia, Francia Marquise, to be in attendance. We're standing with her as we look at the migrant crisis or challenges that are coming up. And let me rephrase that. We do not have a migrant crisis. I said that, and those weren't mixed words. When the people came in here from Afghanistan, they were quickly housed. When people came in here from Ukraine, they were quickly given visas and permits to work, and they were housed. Now that the complexion of those seeking asylum are black and brown and coming from Haiti and Colombia and Venezuela, now all of a sudden they're calling it an immigration crisis. No, we have enough room to treat people humanely in the United States of America. And I'm pushing for the expedited visas for those persons. These are black and brown people that are sleeping out in the lobbies of a police station. These are black and brown people that are being transported across America, across state lines, almost like in violation of the Mann Act. It's illegal what's happening, and there's been silence. So the migration and immigration issue is huge. What the governor of Texas is doing and putting up barbed wires and platoon that are floating to kill people that are trying to come across. I don't know what you see on your television, but I see women with children walking through the mud. When someone comes to this country that doesn't speak the language, that doesn't have shoes, that's carrying a baby, that doesn't have any money, I'm sure they would rather be at home. But something is going on in their country that is so horrific that they have to flee with a child in the middle of the night. One of the reasons I'm on Foreign Affairs, I'd like to see us use food diplomacy and go back into these countries and help build up some of the carnage and wreckage that we've created over the years. So my dear leader and teacher and mentor, my friend Ron Dellums, I thank you so much for having been on this for so long. So I look at my office 1641 as a civil rights outpost on the Hill. You all are welcome. Of course, there are great things going on in New York. Where else did you say you're taking this? To Detroit and other places? You did everything right, but start with Chicago, because we founded with Jean-Baptiste Toussaint, and that's never to be forgotten again. Don't do that again, Congressman. Oftentimes laugh and joke with my friend Sheila Sherfless McCormick of Florida, Miami. She's proud to be of Haitian ancestry, and I told her, but Haitians come from Chicago first and foremost. But so I certainly appreciate you all. I appreciate the work that you're doing, and I appreciate the activist community. I came here to simply show my support, and let's have the next meeting up on the Hill. Let's get a room. You all are welcome to come up there. This is the reason that we have a congressional office. Let's move this meeting. Let's start here, continue, and I look forward to hosting you up on the Hill so we can also interface with other congressional leaders and expand this conversation and continue to build on it. And I would leave you with this last point. When you go into the chamber and you see the names going up on the board, and we have our voting cards, and there are all these things. I worked in the New York Stock Exchange, Chicago Board of Trade, And there's this thing in finance called price discovery, trying to figure out what is the equilibrium in the price of a security. That big board of all the names and who voted reminds me of price discovery, if you will, for the idea marketplace. It's a competitive idea marketplace. And we have to make sure that when we come with our issues, that we reduce the amount and say what's most urgent. There are a lot of countries that are facing the same crisis on borders, political disruption, and those that are more focused on what the ask is are more likely to be successful in getting their result. And the things that I've heard about Haiti from the United Nations, other places, have been horrifying. Such as a person, and I don't wish to give their name, told me at a UN visit, it is easier for them to deal with the gang, to deal with the warlords in Afghanistan than the gangs of Haiti. I said, are you serious? This is the mentality I want you to know. I've asked other members of the Congress, why don't you go with me to the UN so we can talk? And people on the other side of the aisle said, I don't like the UN, I'm not going. Just have a deaf ear. So when I say in this price discovery, this idea marketplace, let's be clear on the 3 or 4 or 5 things that are paramount that we're actually trying to get involved in. Now, I've heard the discussions and I've been a part of it for some time, but when you're asking someone to bring in military, to not bring in military, but to train police in a violent area, that's like going into a domestic fight. Nobody wants in. Who's right and who's wrong? And the number one objective for the soldiers, for any country, is for them to come back home. So know what you're asking for. And this is the issue in Rwanda right now. Rwanda is a country that had a genocide in 1994, 29 years ago, where 1 million people got killed in 100 days. The United States turned their eye and was blind. Then they went to the DRC and essentially had a civil war where 5 million people from the DRC and from Rwanda got killed in 2002, 2003. There's the war going in Ukraine. There's wars about to break out in nation states that are going to fail all over the place. I want to make sure we're able to push Haiti up to the top of the priority. But as we have a family organizing meeting, let's leave out of here with the unity on these are the things that we want, that are deliverable, that are actionable, that are objectives, that you can come to the Congress, because after they turn the page on you, there's 100 other crises that are going on. There's a food crisis going on around the world. The leading cause of death around the world is still water systems. So there are a lot of crises going on. So I'm 100% committed to Haiti. I'm on the Foreign Affairs Committee for that reason. And I know that when the United States has kidnapped presidents and I would tell you that Haiti is a creditor to the United States, not a debtor. I always share that with our colleagues. They fought with America to the Civil War in Savannah. The statue is erected, and we will never let America forget. Haiti does not come to us begging. Haiti does not come to us a debtor. Haiti is a creditor, and we should treat them accordingly with respect. And I want that to be very clear. So in the spirit of Dreambar, Tis DuSable, and Darceline, and others, let's make those names known. And I want to thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Next meeting on the Hill.
All right, thank you so much, Congressman Jonathan Jackson. Give him a big hand. Wonderful. Mr. Chairman.
I have nothing to add. Thank you.
Mr. McCullough. Mr. McCullough, would you like to close this, sir? Yes, sir.
How can I say anything beyond what the congressman has said? I just want, I'm awed by the panelists and particularly the passion, the intelligence, the ability to say, hey, listen, this is what we are all about. We don't often hear these people. They speak to Haiti, they speak to Haitians. They are quite well known among Haitians, but they don't really they're not really well known here because, to a certain extent, there has been silence. And the words that come out, or the policies that come out from State Department and people who call themselves experts on Haiti, but really don't, but really are sort of mouthing State Department policy. We need to have much more of a conversation, and I'm glad that my leader, Dr. Ron Daniels, has set a number of goals for us in the near future. I believe that this is one goal that the Haitian American Foundation for Democracy can support. I certainly will do my best in order to make sure this happens, and that we do have the resources to make this happen. I think that all of us here today, have a duty to make sure that Haiti rises to the top, as Congressman Jackson has said. So thank you again. I don't know if you have any last words.
Very, very quickly. Injustice burns my soul. I hope injustice burns your soul as well. Providing assistance to the Haitian people is a matter of justice. We, as human beings living on that planet, we will not know peace for as long as there's going to be injustice. Haiti has seen enough of its children dying for her. She needs her children to live for her. What we are talking about today is a fight about life. It is making the right to live with dignity the center of our fight. It is making the right for justice the center of our soul. And I wish you courage, because it's a very long road.
I leave you the last word. And just thank you very much for your patience, for your attention. And as Johnny said, we really need more conversations like that. We need you to transmit to your organization, your relation, your network, what you heard today about Haiti. And the hope, please don't let people go into that terrible thing called Haitian fatigue. It's terrible for us who are dying to hear this. It's terrible, it's cynical. And we have to fight against that new ideology against Haiti. And thank you to those who offered to continue to work with us. And thank you I know many of you are doing many things, and this is a moral support, an extraordinary moral support for us who are on the field. And we need people everywhere. We are not here because we are in Haiti. No, there is not a hierarchy in the commitment. Everybody has his own talent, and we put everything together, and we will win. And please transmit that message of hope, because it's so terrible that people are losing faith. We seem
to be in that hell consuming our humanity. Please tell the world that that country, that what a real sense of humanity to the rest of the world, who offered liberty to the rest of the world, has not failed. The state has failed. The population hasn't. The failed is under domination. The state under domination. We are not. The population is not. And we will win. But we need you for that. Thank you very much.